Yo, what is going on, my husbandos and waifus? My name is HERMSAUR, and welcome to another review for you guys. Today, we're going to review Sword Art Online Season 3, or Alicization, Episode number 2, The Demon Tree. So, this is what I wanted to see from Sword Art, especially after Episode 1, which, by the way, blew me the fuck away if you haven't seen that live reaction. God, I'm tired after dancing. I'm fucking dumb, I'm so sorry. With episode 2, I was hoping that we would see more of that other world, that virtual world, which is kind of like a dream state, where they're going through their soul. I forgot what it's like, light fluctuations or whatever the fuck it's called. But we get put into that world, and what's crazy is that we see Kirito actually going into that world with his memories from the real world. Because usually, like we talked about in the first episode, when they go into that world, they have no recollection of what happens in the real world. They only remember what's going on in that actual world that they're currently in the virtual world. So now that he's in there with no recollection of the virtual world but recollection of the real world, he's kind of like, this is so familiar and it's triggering memories. This is what I really liked a lot about this episode, is that Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito kept bouncing these ideas on each other, where it's kind of like they're trying to remind each other of something. They're trying to encourage each other to remember or to do a certain action. So I like that they were doing that, and you can tell that Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh are bouncing well off of each other. They're vibing well with each other, yet they don't remember each other, which I think later on along the lines, I'm pretty sure they're going to remember each other, especially when Yu-Gi-Oh was talking to Kirito about Alice being taken away, and Kirito was like, man, that name sounds so familiar, and Yu-Gi-Oh saying, sorry for telling you these weird things, but it feels like I've known you for a long time. Of course, you guys know I will be praising the animation to death, the art style to death of Sword Art Online. It's honestly top tier. They put a lot of effort and budget into the Sword Art series. I mean, it does have a very strong cult following, even to the point where people were complaining how I was saying Kirito's name. It's like Kirito, not Kirito. I fucking hate myself, man. I'm just trying to make videos. You guys don't, I just want to talk about it, and I just get fucking called stupid because I can't pronounce Kirito's name. What the fuck? Episode 2 was a good following to the first episode, which the first episode had a lot of action, a lot of dark shit, which I really like. And what you guys have been telling me in the comment section below is that this is going to be top-notch Sword Art Online series, season. A lot of the light novelist readers have been telling me that this is going to be fucking good. This is the best one. I wonder if it fixes and redeems itself from all of the mistakes that the first and second season had. Now, I'm not saying that those were bad by all means. It's just for some people it was unenjoyable. For me, I enjoyed it still just because I enjoy the characters and I can understand why they put those certain things in there. Like, I wonder if this is going to make people come back to the series. A lot of people are saying, Hermes, you're just jumping on the goddamn bandwagon of Sword Art Online because you heard it was good. Well, was it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago or a year ago. I made a video of 5 reasons why I like Sword Art Online. Yo guys, what is going on? My name is HERMSAUR and welcome to 5 reasons why I like Sword Art Online. So if you guys want to watch that, you guys could definitely watch that. Like, it's still good, man. I'm enjoying this. I'm especially intrigued and curious where this goes. And the best part is I was like, remember in the last episode, I was like, I wonder how they are going to tie in the real world to this world where Kirito has no memory of what happens in the real world, how it ties in. And now, like, the perception is different. Like, Kirito doesn't remember anything from that virtual world but remembers the real world in this sense, so it kind of flipped. I love that transition, but I also like the fact that they implemented, like, he is able to use his swordsmanship in this. So I wonder if, I just don't know how they're going to implement that, because we all know in the last episode he was pretty much stabbed and we don't know what is happening in this real world. I also have a theory, and I'm just gonna blab on because I just have this theory. The death gun, you know how some people actually died in SAO2? I wonder if the people that died that were stabbed by that death gun in the real world is actually in this world, because death gun is somehow involved in here for some reason. Like, I see him in the opening. It was kind of introduced in, or like the laughing coffin people. Like, I'm just curious like how those tie in, because I love the fact that they tied in what the actual SAO series to the series, which kind of is different. I just love the tie-in and like the depth of so far what we've been introduced. Like in terms of the taboo index, there is a reason for everything. There's an explanation why people appear out of nowhere in that world. Like there's an explanation for everything. There's a rule for everything. And the taboo index, you're getting introduced that the taboo index is so strong and so heavily hammered into these people that if they break this index, they're going to be taken away just like Alice was. So it's fucking crazy. I just honestly love the depth and everything that was added into the series. Like they really did a fantastic job with storytelling, explanation, and that was one thing for even SAO Alternative, which I loved, by the way. With the first episode, there was so much explanation that and tactics that it kind of like drew me away, but I understand why people enjoyed it. For me, it was like the perfect blend, the perfect mixture of that, as well as adding into the art style and the animation, and then the action sequences. And there was only like 1 or 2 action sequences of him cutting the tree, the demon tree, and him also proving that he's a swordsman from the past. Like those are the 2 only action scenes that we've seen. Also, I love the calling, when they're talking about the calling. So everyone is predetermined or called to a certain task, and unfortunately Yu-Gi-Oh was tasked with cutting a goddamn tree that they've been cutting for 300 years but haven't been taken down. The swordsman, I forgot what his name, but he was pretty much clowning on Yu-Gi-Oh, saying that's such a fucking pointless job, it's useless, whereas me, an actual swordsman, does something. But I think of it as, what if Yu-Gi-Oh's actually stronger than the swordsman, because he's been cutting this tree 2,000 times a day, 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 in the evening. He's been cutting this tree for such a long time that that's impossible to cut at this point. He might be actually stronger than the swordsman. I bet you. I fucking bet you. I also had this theory, because they were cutting the demon tree with a dragon bone axe thing. If they gave Kirito a sword, because we know Kirito actually is a swordsman, he has sword skills which are transferred into this dream world. What if they gave him that to use on that tree? Because essentially the durability, I don't know if it's specifically for that dragon bone, but what if they gave him that sword to cut up like 1 billion times? Would it still decrease the durability of it? I think it would. Or why don't they burn that tree? Well, it would burn out their crops and shit too, so maybe that's not the best idea. But they should give Kirito the sword, fucking like chop that shit, because his allegedly his sword skills have transferred over to this world, so we don't know. And there's still a lot of questions in terms of if he's in that world because he's in a dream state, or they actually connected him to keep him alive. We don't know yet, but I'm sure that will be answered later on. Regardless, this episode was a good transition, a good episode 2, a follow-up to the first episode. Great episode, I enjoyed it. Even though there was not too many action sequences, we got a lot of story and more explanation of that world. Fucking great. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you guys go ahead and drop a like for me, because that would help me a lot. Thank you guys so much for all the support. If you guys haven't seen the live reaction, definitely go check that out. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.